Okay. Well, since we've spent a lot of time talking about video games this episode, I will lead with a video game hot take.
Cool.
And we mentioned Mario earlier. I know you're not the biggest platformer guy, so maybe you won't feel too passionately about this. But in my opinion, including 64, Sunshine, Galaxy 1 and 2, 3D Land and 3D World, and Odyssey, I think Super Mario 64 is the worst of the, what, 7? 6 of them? Yeah. Reaction before I elaborate, if you need me to.
Elaborate, because I feel like Okay. Go ahead. Also, I just want to throw it out there. Mario 64 is like the one Mario game that I can say that I love wholeheartedly. Like every other game, I can just say that's a good game.
I thought I remembered you telling me that in the past.
Yeah, no, Mario, like when you said, I'm like, I have a reaction to this. I don't know if it's well founded, but I have a reaction. So please continue.
Okay, so part of this I know you're really going to disagree with, but with a lot of my hot takes, I can recognize where I am like wrong in like a certain objective quantity. So like in this case, Super Mario 64 is without a doubt the most groundbreaking of any of the Mario 3D platformers. It's one of the most groundbreaking games and platformers of all time. So I don't want to take anything away from that. But if we're just looking at it in retrospect, like if I were to pick one to play right now, in 2019, I think Sunshine is more aesthetically pleasing, more unique, and personally it's the one I have the most nostalgia for. I think Galaxy 1 and 2 are mechanically great, plus like presentation wise, music wise, like they're stellar. I think 3D Land and 3D World have better level design, and I think Odyssey, in being the most similar to 64 in terms of focusing on exploration, open environments, all that stuff, I think it emphasizes exploration better, because a lot of 64's like hidden stars and whatnot are like random as all hell. Like I remember playing that game and having to use a guide to find half that shit. Plus like there's a lot of dated game elements, like there's the 100 coins stars where you have to collect 100 coins in a level to get a star, and those are required to complete the game 100%. But there are very easy ways you can fuck up, get like 98, and then lose the last 2 star like coins. Like there are certain levels in which like you might have to try like multiple times to get the 100 coin star, and I think that's just like not clunky level design. And then I think aesthetically, other than maybe 3D World and 3D Land, because those just kind of rip from the 2D games, I think it's aesthetically the most bland out of all of them. I think again, Sunshine and Galaxy and Odyssey, I think all have much more exciting and engaging aesthetics. And, you know, I don't want to be too unfair because there is the graphical issue of like years and years of, you know, improved technology. Yeah. But yeah. And controls wise, I do think it's the worst, honestly. Except Sunshine's a little clunky too, controls wise, but it goes for a different thing. Okay.
So while I agree with most of that, so one, are you basing your memories off of the actual N64 version or from the Nintendo DS port, or like from one of
I barely played the DS port. I would say though that I think overall the DS version is better because it's much more unique in having the multiplayer stuff, but I mostly played 64 on Wii Virtual Console.
Okay.
So I didn't play it with a N64 controller, but I did play it like in that version with like a classic controller or something. So
yeah, like I played mostly on the DS, and then a little bit on my friend she had one of the actual Nintendo 64s. So I played like maybe 15 minutes on there just to see how it felt to actually like control everything. And like I don't know, like to me, all of your complaints could have been summed up as old game is old. And I don't consider that a valid criticism or like a reason to put it toward like, if we want to, and okay. My main thing is like, I don't see how you could put Sunshine above 64, but I also know that Sunshine is the Mario that I have put the least amount of hours into by far. So like, I think it's a hot take, but I also don't have the personal evidence to back up my thinking it's a hot take. It's like,
I think I'd probably get more shit from Nintendo fans in general than I'm getting from you right now. I just think people hold on to their nostalgia for it more than is maybe warranted based on the games that have come out since. Like there's like I'm always in favor of like, you know, your nostalgia is warranted. but I think like I don't know, like I think people hold on to it a bit too much. Like I think a lot of what it did was groundbreaking at the time, but it's like I would much rather play Super Mario Bros. 3 than Super Mario Bros. 1, and I don't think like that should be considered like a hot take. Whereas I think in this situation, it's like a similar thing, and yet the love for 64 has lasted a lot longer. You know what I mean?
Well, I think it's because of like the. Are you saying you preferred to play these games, or you think Mario, like Super Mario, at this point, the Galaxy and Odyssey and 3D Land, 3D World, I'll put them, like I'll concede those points. But for me, like I'm sticking to Sunshine specifically. So like if we're boiling it down to Sunshine via 64.
Well, Sunshine's my favorite out of all of them, if I'm being honest. So honestly,
to me, that's a hotter take than 64 being rated lower than it should be. Because like I think there is a legitimate argument to be had about nostalgia. But also, like, with the little bit of time that I played of 64 or of Sunshine, I just wasn't having fun. Like, moving was so heavy and like not
really. I think because you can move super quick in it. I think
I was gonna say it could just be because I was like very brief hands on, but I was just like to me the flood mechanic was the big gimmick. Like this is what sets this apart from all the other Mario games. And like
that's it right there.
It wasn't fun to me, and I think Nintendo realized that because they haven't implemented that in any of their other Mario games.
Well, no, I know it's definitely the most controversial. It's probably the black sheep of all these games, in terms of. But I think that's why it holds up better, because 64. I think a lot of what it did has been done better in like parts of Sunshine, maybe not all of it, but then also in Galaxy and Odyssey. Whereas I think Sunshine is the one that no matter how dated it gets, it'll always have stuff that even the newer games don't have that is good. Like I'm a huge fan of the beach aesthetic, and like a lot of what it adds is new. It doesn't rely nearly as much on old Mario elements that the other games do. It truly tries for something new, and while it definitely doesn't work in all situations, it makes it stand out and feel worth going back to, I think, more than 64 does. Like I feel like if I would rather just play Odyssey than go back and play 64. If I really want that like 64 feeling, like you can even go to the castle in Odyssey.
Odyssey is a weird example because it is, to me, like it is the reason I got so excited about Odyssey is because in the initial trailers, to me, they did things that made it look more like
I think that was very
Mario 64. Yeah. So like, but okay. So just in terms of like the setting argument, I feel like having it. And I just with the brief time I had, but also like with the just hours of content that I've seen where Mario Odyssey will come up, like, or Mario Sunshine will come up. Like, I feel like within 64, having the hub world of the castle, and then having all the paintings have their own little like sub biomes and stuff like that. Like, you can have a favorite world in 64, but like you're in Delfino in fucking Sunshine.
I like that cohesiveness to it. I think like one of the things that gets boring to
as
me
a Mario game. Like,
but see, that's the thing. I think that's why it stands out. Is that like every Mario game has the snow level, the volcano level, the sky level. Like I like that Sunshine picks an aesthetic and sticks to it. I think that's way more interesting to me than let's do another variation on the same set of level gimmicks.
Super Mario Sunshine is just the Pokemon black and white of Mario games.
Fuck you for that. I want to move on.
I'm not wrong.
No, I think you're wrong. I think you're
okay.
Very
you know
wrong.
What? Actually, this is a good segue
very wrong.
because really okay.
Yeah.
Okay.